Welcome to the Abarth 695 Biposto Record. I can tell you right from the get-go that it's noisy, uncomfortable, and about as civilised as falling down a spiral staircase. But I'll tell you something else that it is. Damn good fun. Now clearly this isn't your average Abarth. One glance of the externals should tell you that. Finished in a unique Mondana yellow paint, its credentials are filled in by bloated wheel arches that house a wider track, a set of lightweight OZ racing wheels, a more squared off front end that houses larger intakes, and of course masses of carbon fibre that include the front splitter, sills that run along the car's length, and that rather extroverted rear diffuser. It's not the sort of car you can take to a funeral. And inside, well, critiquing the interior is actually quite difficult because there's not an awful lot of it. Basically, this car's ethos is that it is a road legal race car. It's an entry-level point to motorsport that you can take home again. And back in the good old days, you could used to drive your race car to a track and then take it home on the road totally legally. So this provides something that you could maybe go to Silverstone in, slap down a set of rather impressive lap times, and then burble your way home when you're done. In that respect, they've gone to the extreme to save weight. It definitely falls more on the race car than road car side of things in here. Now, whilst the dashboard is very reminiscent of a Fiat 500, the bulbous turbo gauge starts to give things away here that happily dances away as you drive, as does the label of the Scorpion, something very particular for Abarth. It's a logo that is well respected and well recognised. The cabin features a set of carbon fibre race seats, which not only are really cool, but they also hug you around the ribs and serve their purpose for supporting you very, very well. The interior has no satellite navigation, no radio, no speakers, no rear seats. It doesn't even have door handles, actually. There's a bit of rope down here to pull the door closed. In fact, an easier list would be for me to tell you what the interior actually does have, which is not a lot, not even carpets. But that's all in a bid to keep this car below 1,000 kilos. It's actually 997 kilos in weight, which bodes well for the power to weight ratio. Under the bonnet you have the most potent incarnation of Fiat's 1.4 litre heavily turbocharged engine that kicks out 187 brake horsepower and 184 pounds-feet of torque. And to help manage that power through the front, you've got a mechanical limited slip differential. So just how fast is the little Abarth? Well, 0 to 62 miles per hour is done and dusted in 5.9 seconds, and it goes on to a top speed of 143 miles per hour. Considering that this thing is quite literally pint-sized, it punches well above its weight. Now, to own one of these cars every day, you have to be a bit, well, what's the word I'm looking for? Oh yeah, mental, because the ride is so incredibly firm. Of course, there's hardly any sound deadening in here, so the noise from the road and the tyres and everything filters straight into the cabin. It's a really raw experience, and to do that every single day of the week, let's just say I'm not sure I could do it. But then that said, a real Abarth enthusiast would sort of relish in that sort of, you know, big, manly, burly, ooh, go take your handbag home, stop complaining about the car sort of mentality. And I get that, I do get that. It's just after a week, I think I'm about 2 inches shorter, and I've been dodging speed humps like they're icebergs and I was the Titanic. I suppose one plus of having a stripped out interior is the fact that you've got masses of boot space. However, this rather extreme package does begin to come good whenever you find some amazing roads and you push this little button marked Sport. In this configuration, the 695 isn't just ready to go quickly, it's ready to put some much bigger cars to shame. The steering weight's up, the throttle response increases, and some valves open up in those artillery-inspired exhaust pipes. And it's quite the rush. It's very visceral. Obviously, you can feel everything the car's doing beneath you. But I think the big thing that comes from this this overall platform is just how rapidly it changes direction. Obviously having a short wheelbase helps, but the very quick steering just means you can dart from apex to apex. When that turbo comes on song, this thing really doesn't hang about at all. The whole experience is obviously, as I said, quite raw, but it's really involving in that respect. I can feel everything that this car is doing, all four corners of the car, feeding back information to the driver through the steering and the little movements that the chassis is making. It corners so flat, and the steering is just so responsive. It just picks off apexes like there's no tomorrow. On greasy roads, it has to be said, there is a bit of torque steer, but nothing that a firm grip of the wheel won't take care of. You can really put your faith in those big old Brembo brakes that sit between the spokes of those OZ alloy wheels, because they have got your back. They are really responsive, there's good pedal weighting, and you can trail brake into corners just to pitch the car in a little bit harder onto an apex. The whole thing is just really excellent for people who enjoy driving or enjoy the science of driving. It's a car whereby if you want to drive it quickly, you have to be quite precise with it. It doesn't really take any prisoners. And also with the firm suspension on UK roads, you've got to watch that you don't upset it into corners, because that could leave you coming a bit of a cropper. But see, it just has that amazing ability to put a smile on your face at the end of the day. And it's sort of worth having bleeding eardrums and a shattered spine and a pelvis that's now dust. I do get it. I do fully commend somebody who goes and buys this car, because the world is a better place for the Biposto being in it. This piece of information is almost totally irrelevant, but I'll put it in anyway. The manufacturer claims that it'll emit 145 grams per kilometre of CO2 and achieve 45.9 mpg combined. Useless. Why do I need to know this with a car like this? However, there is a bitter pill to swallow whenever it comes to this Biposto, and that is the price. It costs £36,610, which is a lot of money for a little car, and that's without certain options like the dog box you can option, or plexiglass windows to make it even more race car inspired. Yeah, it's a lot of money. However, what you do get is a car of which there's only 133 of them in the whole world. The record part of its name comes from the 133 records that Carlo Abarth achieved back in his day. However, it's not just the exclusivity you're buying with this car. You're buying the most hardcore hot hatchback on the road today.
Thanks very much for watching, and let us know what you think in the comments below. Please subscribe for all of the latest and greatest cars to hit the road. For breaking news and written reviews, visit www.insidelane.co.uk.